From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's noontime here on LALATE, and as the $1,400 third stimulus check landed in bank accounts this week again, push is underway for that fourth stimulus check, that monthly stimulus check. But in this recording, I do a little bit something different. I give you breaking details and breaking news across the board on a subject you haven't heard in a while. Timing stimulus. Yes, Timing. In this video, I show you how it's important to understand that timing stimulus, timing this economy, timing where the markets are going to go could be the do or dare of the next few months. In the last few minutes, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the crypto industry is crashing. Yes. And for one viewer who dropped in one of the comments of the video before this, said, just tell me when my fourth stimulus check is coming. Is it coming, yes or no? In this video, I show you how it's important to know when things are coming, how they're coming, and why they need to come at a certain period of time, because timing stimulus and timing the arrival of your money, whether it's student aid, forgiveness, or an ideal grant, is everything. And in this video, we get right to the timing right now. Good noontime, everybody. How are you? It's a Sunday afternoon, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. It is warm and breezy, actually very hot and breezy here in LA. I have closed the window because it would literally be crashing behind you. So crash the window. No, we're not going to crash the window. Hope you are good. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also like this video, and if you're not becoming a member, consider becoming a member of Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. For stimulus, monthly stimulus checks, are you getting them? Yes, if everything happens on time. That's what this video is about. Timing is everything. And over the last few weeks, if not last few days, exponentially, I have seen everything from social media to comments of this video, of the videos, and elsewhere, where people sort of think that stimulus should really just sort of come at the spur of the moment. And boy, this is something I want to go over with you in this recording starting right now. First, when you're considering stimulus, it's dependent upon where the economy is at that moment. A reconciliation bill takes 2 months to do. So it takes 2 months to do. Well, the point at which they put those monthly stimulus checks come in the bill is not in the first month, it's in the second month, because the first month is doing the tow truck, the reconciliation process. So at month 2 is when they would put those stimulus checks in there. So as you sit here looking at the calendar, it's April. Well, they wouldn't put that push for multiple stimulus checks in until at least May or June. So what is the economy going to look like in June? That's the million-dollar question that no one knows the answer, which brings me to my very first point. You want the stimulus to be done as soon as possible because the economy is rebounding faster than anyone knows. Now, here is the first point I need to make in this video. I've had some people say in the comments, I don't think the economic numbers are true, or they could get worse because COVID number of cases are surging, or because that's consumer spending, savings, they're going to use up their savings and then they're not going to spend anymore. That's all great analysis. I love that. But here's what you need to know, is that's betting, that type of language is betting upon the economy pulling back and not growing as quickly. That works for your stimulus. That works for your stimulus. It is not a part of the analysis of worrisome about getting stimulus. Economy pulling back, COVID number of cases increasing, that provides more support for giving stimulus checks, monthly stimulus checks. That shouldn't be the worry for you. The worry should be the antithesis, that the economy is booming too quickly. Is the economy moving too quickly, and what is the economic data showing you? Now, that brings us to the unemployment claims. Unemployment claims and jobs numbers are the single two numbers that the White House uses to determine stimulus, and certainly congressional leaders as well. The jobs numbers is a once a month number. It won't be released until the end of this month. So the issue with that number is obvious. It's delayed 30 days. So you could literally get smacked in the face 30 days out with really big, great news, and you just go into shock zone. OMG, the numbers came in really high. What are we going to do? It's a 30-day delay on getting those numbers. Now, the unemployment claims come out every Thursday. And so that gives us a progression of data that we can watch and we can see and anticipate where the economy is going. Last Friday, the new jobless claims came in. And with that immediately was some reaction from some viewers. Some viewers saw the new jobless number and said, well, it's impacted because people had to go off claim and recertify for claim. That's actually the reverse. Let me explain the number. First of all, that's not what that number refers to. It refers to people who never had an unemployment claim with their Department of Unemployment ever in the last year. So this would not qualify for people who go on and off claim. But let's assume it did. Then the number would be higher because more people would be applying. No, the number was lower. It means that people literally got off of unemployment. Now, the other indicator to secure that that's really what's happening is the long-term unemployment number. How many people have still been unemployed from the week before? That number reflects how many people are on unemployment and are still on unemployment. And that number dropped by 1 million from the week before. Now, that is a huge, huge drop. Last week, we saw 575,000 new unemployment claims, the smallest since March of 2020. We saw the largest drop of continuing unemployment claims by 1 million, and that's on the unemployment side. What about on the job side? We won't see that for another month. So that's why you don't want to get smacked in the face with really huge, great economic news and be shocked and not in a position to gauge that reaction. Then came the Producer Price Index, the CPI, and other economic data in the last week. And one after another, the best numbers, not since the start of the pandemic, but since 2 years before the pandemic or 3 years before the pandemic, showing incredible rates of growth. To which you may then ask, well, LA, it's reopening growth. Is it sustainable growth? Is it going to sustain at that level, or is it going to pull back? That's a great question. In fact, that question has been asked of analysts the last few days. Is the growth we're seeing in the month of March sustainable growth in June or July? Are we going to grow at the same rate or faster, or are we going to pull back? Analysts are universally saying it's the same rate of growth, usually. In rare occurrences, they're saying it's actually going to accelerate faster. Now, here's what you want to know. Here's what you need to know, is that if the rate of growth of this economy stays the same, you're perfect for multiple stimulus checks. Because the bill would not get to the Senate until July. Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi both say that the vote would happen in July. And that vote in July, by then, even at the current rate of rebounding this economy, the stimulus is still warranted. Let's look at our stimulus check amount, and let's look at when and how it would work. First, it's important to understand that who gets forced stimulus. If you make less than $75,000 a year, this is you. If you're a household of 4 or less, this is you. If you're on SSI or SSDI, this is you. And the speed issue is what we're talking about right now. How much money would be at issue for this forced stimulus? Look at this money, but also look at the date, July. Okay, so we all understand that Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi want the vote in July. We understand that the determination about stimulus would come in July. What about the rate of growth of this economy right now? Are we still okay? Yes, you are still okay at the current rate of growth. It's just if the current rate of growth accelerates even more, you could be in a bind, meaning you may have too much rebound in the economy. The economy may be close to fully rebounded by July, and some of those senators may get cold feet. Here's another data to look at. Viewers were wondering, well, what about the banks? You're citing Wells Fargo and JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, and also Goldman Sachs, blowout earnings reports numbers. That's because of the stimulus checks, right, LA? No. So that data that you're seeing last week, and you're going to see this week, you're going to see earnings reports coming in from United Airlines, IBM, Netflix, Honeywell. That data is the first 3 quarters of this year. Third stimulus had not landed yet. It's the impact of second stimulus at best. It's January, February, and March. What was the impact of this economy through March on what's called Q1, the first 3 quarters of this year, on those financial sectors, whether it's consumer staples like American Express or Honeywell, or it's, service, food, like Coca-Cola reports on Monday. What does that tell us about where this economy is going? It's going to be strong numbers. All the analysts say the numbers are going to be strong. But how strong is it going to be? That's the big question. The next big thing that I want to turn to when determining stimulus is what's happening with some of the questions I've seen on the channel in the last 24 hours. On Mornings LA, right before this, about 2 hours before this, one person actually 2 people jumped into the live chat. One person said, this is actually their comment, I want to know if I'm getting a 4th stimulus check, yes or no. That was the way they phrased the question. I want to know if I'm getting a 4th stimulus check. Just answer my question, yes or no. Then another person said, what date am I getting the 4th stimulus check in my hand? Now, you and I know it sounds like a donut guy jumping into the live chat. But what's important for you to understand is that both comments go back to the notion that people would assume that your stimulus today is a result of something happening today. No. So this is what's important for you to understand. If that viewer was asking, am I getting a stimulus check for a stimulus check? Absolutely. Ask me back in February, am I getting monthly stimulus checks? Absolutely. Ask me the question in July. I have no idea. I have no idea if this economy is fully rebounded by July. I hope it is not. I hope the rate of growth where we are at the current point is continuing, because at the current rate of growth, you're still going to get 4 stimulus checks. So the viewer is basically asking to predict what's happening 2 months out. If it was based upon today's economic data, yes. If it's based upon the current push, yes. But if the economy turns a faster knob on the ignition switch and goes into overdrive, oh boy, it's a whole other situation. Meantime, it deafens back to what's happening elsewhere today. I don't know to what extent what social media platforms you use, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, besides YouTube. But if you were on Twitter on Friday, the number 1 word trending on Twitter Friday was one of the cryptocurrencies. In fact, one of the non-mainstream cryptocurrencies. All last week, there was incredible series of almost dumbfounding tweets about cryptocurrency where people were saying, it's up 400%. I want to buy some more. Buy 3,000. I want to take all my money and put it in there. People buying without knowing why they're buying and looking at something going up, not knowing why it's going up, and just assuming there's a ride to the top. There's an escalator to the top. Let's jump on. Where's the escalator going? I don't know. What does the escalator cover? I don't know. Why is it going up? I don't know. It's just going up, and it's going to keep on going up, so I'm going to buy some more. Those people are hurting today. And I told you it was coming. And boy, it's coming right now. On Mornings LA, I told you that the cryptocurrency was starting to pull back. It was going down. It was 7% down this morning, cryptocurrency. It's now down 10 to 14%, certain coins right today. And we're only, 11 a.m. on the West Coast. In just a few hours, it has gone from down 5% to now nearly 14% in one day. By comparison, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday last week, it was moving up 2% a day, 3% a day. It shows you that people are not gauging things and timing things correctly. They're just assuming things are going to go the same direction all the time. This is what worries me for 2021. If you were with me in 2020, I jumped into the coverage of stimulus late in the game. And I said, why are so many people depending their entire livelihood on when Speaker Pelosi delivers you a stimulus check? They determine when they're going to pay for their truck, when they're going to pay for their mortgage and everything based upon one stimulus check, which ultimately didn't happen. They're doing their timing based upon one event. It's sort of like what's happening with cryptocurrency since Friday. Everyone's basing everything on the presumption that everything is going to go up because it went up the day before and it went up the day before that. Well, guess what? That's not how things work. Now, what's important for you to understand is that narratives is very important. Forced stimulus is getting incredible great narratives this weekend. And narratives is something that you can change. It's something that you can change. Suddenly, forced stimulus is front page news across broadcast media. It's number one search term on the financial news check networks of monthly stimulus checks. They cover the discussion of the senators. They cover the discussion of the House members. They cover the coverage of the amount of the stimulus checks. And they cover the issue of how much it would pay. They go over the letters that were written to the president from the House members. They go over how the House plan is different than the Senate plan. The House members want to give you $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. Senators, the amount is unknown, but it looks like it's $2,000 a month from now to December, or $1,400 from now to December, which would be $8,000. That's where we are. This is something where you can actually change the narrative of timing. Timing, pushing, is everything about Purple Power. Purple Power, the original Purple Power show here on Evenings LA back from 2020 was, and you've seen in some of the reruns on Overnights LA, was talking about pushing things. When people aren't talking about it, we push. Well, it's working. And with that, I want to turn to another subject, and certainly one subject that's coming up in the chat right now, and I see a lot of people in the room. I see Sandy and Cameron, Caveman, sorry, and John and Ann and Gail and Sandy as well. One of the topics coming up in the chat is, what about the $200 of SSI and SSDI, Social Security and Rural Benefits? This brings us back to the discussion of timing. When some people have a momentum underway for something, and the momentum for that item is very strong, and that item helps you, it's time for you to pile on. For purposes of stimulus, the momentum currently is for stimulus. Monthly stimulus checks, the biggest stimulus payout you've ever seen in this channel. And yet, I think I've done a pretty good job so far in telling people, don't come into the discussion and say, yeah, but what about my SSI of $2,400? To which I say, do you want $2,400 or do you want $12,000? Well, ask it again. Do you want $12,000 or do you want $2,400? Okay, I'll take $12,000. Here's what you need to know, is that there's legislative timing for everything. And the legislative timing at issue now for forced stimulus is between now and July. It has a very short time frame, and the leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi have set this for a timeline between now and July. This is the single biggest payout you've ever seen. So why would someone mention, what about my $200 a month of SSI and SSDI, $2,400, when people on SSI and SSDI qualify for the numbers that are on the screen? You would want to get behind this and push this as fast and hard as you could push it. Also, what about FPUC Retro? Why would you talk about FPUC Retro when you could talk about this? Why would you talk about hazard pay when you could talk about this? Now, that's not to say you shouldn't forget about SSI and SSDI or hazard pay or FPUC Retro. Rather, is that you should use the timing of the moment, the timing of the support, to get what you want now, the biggest payout and the biggest payday. The push for multiple stimulus checks or monthly stimulus checks under forced stimulus has the largest coverage of any financial news channel story now in the nation. Do you know how many people are talking about SSI and SSDI, $2,400? No one. FPUC Retro? No one. Hazard pay? No one. The likelihood of it coming back from wherever it is in the neck between now and July, next to nothing. So why would you talk, and how much smaller is it compared to these paydays? Dramatically smaller. Do you qualify for both? You do qualify for both. So you want to use the momentum of the moment to push for the biggest item across the board. In a way, it's sort of like cryptocurrency. Yes. Cryptocurrency had a momentum last week. Everyone saw it was going up. It's going up. I don't know what it is. It's just some coins. I think I'll buy some. What is Ethereum? I don't know. I'll just buy some. It looks like it's going up. It went up 5% the day before. It went up 5%. My friend made $200 a day. So it had momentum. Well, there's momentum now for multiple stimulus checks. Momentum now for forced stimulus. And if my coverage of it and if broadcast media's coverage of it is not an indication of the momentum, then you can certainly look at the other YouTube channels that left the discussion of stimulus for 5 weeks to go talk about everything from, strange koalas in foreign countries and 8-track tapes to now suddenly coming back and covering forced stimulus. I'm like, where have you been? They're suddenly now back saying, oh, maybe I will cover it. Yeah, now that it's become front page news, now it's time to pile on. That's why it's so important to understand engaging items. One of the viewers, her name is one of the viewers said to me that, Elliot, I really appreciate all the information you impart to me and my son. We watch you and we learn a lot. And ultimately, I like that because that is someone who understands that learning is what makes you more profitable in life, makes you more financially stable in life. It's important to understand that when you look at forced stimulus, it's a learning process. It's a learning process. You need to understand where it gets in there and how it gets in there. Here's an example of how forced stimulus cannot be a learning process. There have been some people a few weeks ago who said, the president hasn't mentioned forced stimulus, hence we're not getting it. That person is not caught on the learning process because the president doesn't write the bills. He never writes the bills. He's the president of the United States. He's the head of the executive branch. He doesn't write the bills. The speaker and the leader of the Senate write the bills, and they put the amendments in the bills during the reconciliation process. Another person said once, I haven't heard the president talk about this, so we're probably not getting it. Just because the president doesn't talk about it doesn't mean you're not getting it. In fact, we learned from third stimulus that some of the biggest things that you've gotten so far on this channel, no one had talked about it until it was delivered. It was a strange narrative that I delivered, I think it was 2 days ago, where I explained that reconciliation, the amendments introduced during the reconciliation, is a secretive process. And viewers were surprised. Secretive, why are they keeping it a secret? And in fact, one viewer actually asked, why are they keeping it a secret? Let me explain why. When a bill lands in the Senate, senators have plotted out weeks ahead of time, sometimes even months ahead of time, what amendments they want to put in there. They don't want to tell their opponents, who, in many cases are the Republicans, what the amendment will provide. Why? Because they don't want to have them time and any opposition. They can preempt an opponent can preempt you by introducing a counter legislation before yours, which would basically nullify your proposal, or that opponent could line up all his colleagues to get ready to pounce as soon as you introduce that legislation. So why do they do it secretive, like Leader Schumer and Senator Warren? When it came to the $10,200 of unemployment that's tax-free, or the student loan debt forgiveness, which is now not a taxable event, they did it secretly. And what they did was they secretly went to their colleagues in the Democratic caucus in the Senate, said, what do you think about this? Love it. When is Leader Schumer going to call for a vote? All these things are very secretive. They plot these things out ahead of time. So while you may want to see it on the front of broadcast media, or certainly on this channel, covering, the amendment's coming at 2 o'clock on a Saturday, no. They're literally going to keep it a secret down to the very last minute because they want to get it passed, and they know it's not an easy step to getting it passed. With that, let me jump into the live chat and see some of your questions and comments because I know you got some of them. Timing the markets and timing your stimulus across the board is a very big, important thing to do. You never want to assume that everything is always the same way because sometimes things are just generally not. Let me see some of the questions. Do you really think there'll be another stimulus? Cindy, absolutely. Let's get this bill out in May. Put it to the floor, Biden. It says a double C. Well said. So double C, once the fourth stimulus bill to the floor in May. The bill has 2 steps for it. And the reconciliation part of the bill could certainly get to the floor in May. That's a great comment, a double C. The substantive part of the bill would take an additional month. So the recon process is a little bit slower than that. The vote-a-rama is when the bill would get modified in the Senate? Great question. Let me see some other questions. Hello from South Dakota, says Jacqueline. Says someone else. There's Helen. Let's push for that $12,000. It's our destiny. Start pushing for 12,000, says Randolph. Patricia with the the winged lemon. The winged lemon. Earlier on Mornings in LA, Scott said, "You called my cat a bear. It wasn't a bear, it was a cat." It cracked me up when he did that. Thank you, Patricia, for the winged lemon. Here's what you know going into Noontime LA, which is always our lighthearted, easy breezy, mercurial type of show, is I want you to know that things are not always plotted out with clear destiny. And that ultimately momentum works sometimes in your favor. But knowing timing is everything. Let me recap where we are in the big day as we go into the middle of a beautiful Sunday. Let me look at where Wall Street currently has. I just want to take a look at Bitcoin one more time because, boy, it is just okay. So now crypto is now down 9%. So it shows you really hard to. I went live with you it was down 14%. Now it's down 9%. Here's what you need to know as I'm about to sneeze on camera. Never sneeze on camera. It's windy, so you never know what may happen. I may sneeze on camera. When looking at forced stimulus, it's important to understand that forced stimulus is needed because there's 16 million people unemployed long-term and 8 million jobs missing. Okay. That will be the same situation at the end of this month. It'll be the same situation at the start of next month. That works in your favor. Senators and House members want to give you monthly stimulus checks because those two situations are occurring. That's a status quo. The thing that you, I, and no one can predict is when is the status quo going to end? It's not going to end next year. It's going to end earlier. And it's not going to end in the winter. It could end in the fall. The question is, does it end before they get the stimulus bill to a vote? You don't want that reality to occur. During the course of any recordings of this channel, if you hear Daddy and say, but it could actually be worse, the situation. Worse worked for you. Worse is for your benefit. Worse economic data, bad economic data, data that's not as good, economy not growing as good as you hope, resurging COVID-19 cases helps for stimulus. It also helps for you to understand that the markets may pull back. There may be less inflationary concerns. The 10-year Treasury note may pull back. That helps for you. So always being a devil's advocate like that actually helps for your push. But on the other hand, you should worry when the economic data is going too quickly, too fast, rebounding too robustly. Next week, we're going to see if that's going to be the case when we look at the new earnings reports, especially from American Express, which is really sort of a swath of the American landscape. It encompasses both credit, travel, and entertainment. As Jim Cramer said, it should be able to give a good read on where the strength of the economy is going. Momentum is everything, and Purple Power has been about momentum. So while Miguel Cardona, your education secretary, did not prepare that memo due last Friday about student loan debt forgiveness, push Purple Power. Go on social media, say, where's the letter to the president to determine whether he has executive order to forgive student loan debt forgiveness? Tweet Elizabeth Warren, tweet Leader Schumer. They know about the deadline for that letter. They are probably wondering where the letter is as well. They may have not publicly talked about it, but they probably have spoken among themselves. Where's that letter? Thank you, Ashley, for becoming a Purple Hawk. Everyone welcome Ashley to the family. Meantime, push to get this stimulus package into the Senate and the House floor. As the one viewer said in this chat, May. Let's do it sooner. Absolutely. Danielle and another viewer, Danielle Davis, said, why can't we do it sooner? You can absolutely do it sooner. And Crayola asked in a video yesterday, we can do it sooner. Absolutely. You want to do things on the come. You want to do it when the unemployment numbers are there and the lack of jobs numbers are there. You currently have all the economics of the situation set up for you. Will that be the case in a few weeks from now? Don't know. Ultimately, being informed and educated about the situation is what helps you. And while we go into the new day, this is what I told you on Friday. I told you that there's likely to be a burst of the crypto industry because there's been too much speculation. People are buying things because they have no understanding of the valuation, and that a major sell-off could just tank the whole industry. Don't just do things because you hear other people doing it. Know why you're doing it, understand what the purpose of it is. There's a reason why everything moves, and it should be based upon valuation. If it's not, then you need to know why something's going that direction. Currently, the direction for forced stimulus is going the right way, and you need to push Purple Power and keep it going. I'll see you later on Afternoons LATE. Here again is our scheduled programming today, and let me show you what's on tap for today. And we have a lot of great shows coming up later today. Afternoons LATE at 4 p.m., 2 hours from now. And then the other Afternoons LATE at 6 p.m. One of those Afternoons LATE shows may not, I may drop for today because I think I'm a little bit behind schedule, but we will see. And then Evenings LATE will certainly be back at 8 p.m. I think perhaps the next afternoon show may be dropped, but we'll see. I'm trying to stay on schedule, but I think I'm a little bit behind. We go into second Afternoons LATE at 6 p.m., then Evenings LATE at 8 p.m., and then Sirloin and Javita join you for LA Late Night. And there we are. I was sent a targeted email, and then was denied because I was not having 2019 info, and yet I qualify for. I'm reading someone's comment. It was a really good comment. Even though I qualify for PPP, Penny. So if you're having problems with a PPP application process, go to another PPP program because they're all quite different. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. Consider subscribing. It's our 1-year anniversary as we approach April 25th. Also, consider becoming a member and like this video. 3,000 likes. It really helps in the algorithm rankings. I'll see you back shortly. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay of LA for more.